All right, get ready because today we're diving deep into something super cool, sleep manifestation.
Sleep manifestation.
Yeah,
Mm.
that idea of using your subconscious power while you're asleep to bring your goals closer.
Hmm.
I mean, is there anything our brains can't do while we sleep?
Well, let's just say they're definitely a lot more active than we might think.
Okay.
So we're going to be looking at some techniques today that supposedly tap into that subconscious power and see if there's anything to them.
I like it. So, our source material today is a discussion all about these sleep manifestation techniques.
Hmm.
And one thing that really stuck out to me was this idea that the time right before we fall asleep is like a golden opportunity
Oh, yeah,
for manifestation.
definitely.
Almost feels like our brains are more open to suggestion
Yes.
when they're winding down for the night.
Hmm.
What's the thinking behind that?
It's a bit like lowering your defenses,
Yeah.
isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, when we're fully awake, our conscious mind is running the show, filtering information, analyzing, making decisions.
Uh-huh.
But as we drift off to sleep,
Okay.
that conscious filter, it starts to relax.
Yeah.
And then what we're left with is that vast, powerful subconscious, which is much more receptive to the thoughts and feelings we're holding on to.
Okay. So instead of my brain replaying my to-do list
Right.
for the 100th time as I'm trying to fall asleep, I could be using that time to actually influence my subconscious.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So the source outlines 5 specific steps for sleep manifestation, and I'm ready to dive in.
Okay, let's unpack them.
Right.
So the first step is all about setting a clear intention.
Okay.
And this is where things get a bit more intentional than just daydreaming before bed.
Yeah.
It's about really honing in on what you want to manifest and getting specific.
So not just I want to be successful, but more like I want to land that promotion to senior marketing manager.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the source even suggests writing it down,
Oh, interesting.
just to solidify that intention in your mind.
Oh.
You could phrase it as something like, I am attracting opportunities that align with my career goals, or I am becoming more confident and resilient each day.
Ooh, I love that.
Mhm.
Already feels way more powerful than my usual pre-sleep mental scramble.
Right.
Okay, step 2.
Step 2.
Visualize your desired outcome.
Yes.
This one feels right at my alley.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a very visual person.
Mhm.
The source mentions how our brains don't really differentiate between real and vividly imagined experiences.
Fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. Like they're on the same neural wavelength.
Yeah. Studies using fMRI technology have actually shown that when we vividly imagine something, our brains light up in very similar ways to when we're actually experiencing it.
Wow.
Think about it.
Okay.
Have you ever had a dream that felt so real you woke up feeling like it actually happened?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So we're not just talking about a quick daydream here.
No.
We're talking full-on sensory immersion.
Yes.
The source even suggests engaging all 5 senses to really bring the visualization to life. I guess that makes sense. The richer the mental image, the more real it feels to our brains.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of just picturing yourself receiving that award,
Yeah.
imagine the weight of it in your hand, the sound of the applause, the flash of the cameras, even the feeling of pride swelling in your chest.
Okay, now you're talking.
Yeah.
The more detail you can add, the more you're convincing your subconscious that this is a reality you're already living.
Right.
That's super cool. I'm already getting ideas.
Yeah.
So step 3,
Step 3.
repeat affirmations. And I have to admit,
Okay.
I've always been a bit hit or miss with affirmations. Sometimes they feel powerful, other times a little cheesy.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What makes them effective in this context?
Well, the key is to frame them in the present tense as if you're already embodying those qualities or experiences you desire.
Okay.
So instead of, I will be confident, it's I am confident. This creates a sense of immediacy and ownership.
So it's less about wishful thinking
Well-
and more about declaring it as your current reality.
Exactly.
I like that. The
Yeah.
source gives some examples.
Mhm.
I am open to new and fulfilling opportunities,
Mhm.
or abundance flows to me effortlessly.
Yeah,
It's almost like rewriting the script of your life,
it is.
isn't it?
It is.
By repeatedly affirming these positive statements,
Yeah.
you're essentially overriding any negative thought patterns or limiting beliefs that might be holding you back.
Exactly.
Okay, on to step 4.
Okay.
Embrace gratitude.
Huh?
This one always feels good, even if it's just mentally listing things I'm thankful for before I fall asleep.
Yeah.
But how does gratitude tie into the whole manifestation process?
Well, think of it like tuning your internal radio to a specific frequency.
Okay.
When you focus on feelings of gratitude, You're aligning yourself with the vibration of abundance and positivity, which in turn can attract more of those things into your life.
Interesting.
It's about shifting your mindset from one of lack to one of appreciation for what you already have, while also being open to receiving more.
So instead of focusing on what I don't have,
Right?
I'm acknowledging and appreciating what I do have
Exactly.
and trusting that even more good things are on their way.
Yeah.
I can totally get behind that.
Yeah.
And honestly, who doesn't love feeling grateful?
Right.
So the source suggests simply taking a few minutes before bed to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how big or small.
Mm,
Sounds easy enough, but I have a feeling this step packs a bigger punch than we realize.
absolutely.
Okay, and that sets the stage perfectly for the final step.
The final step.
Drift off to sleep.
Yes.
Now, this might seem a little anticlimactic
Yeah.
after all that intention setting and visualization, but it's about trusting the process and allowing your subconscious to work its magic while you rest.
Exactly.
So no more frantically trying to solve all of life's problems before I drift off.
Right.
This almost sounds too easy.
Well, it's certainly simpler than we often make it. The key here is releasing any tension or worry and surrendering to a state of peace and relaxation.
Oh, okay.
The more you can quiet your conscious mind,
Mm-hmm.
the more receptive your subconscious becomes to the seeds of intention you've planted.
I'm definitely ready to ditch my pre-sleep worry spiral and embrace a more peaceful approach.
Yeah.
But before we move on, I'm really curious to understand the science behind all this. Why does sleep manifestation actually work? What's happening in our brains while we're asleep that makes them so receptive to these techniques?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And it brings us to the heart of why this all works.
Okay.
During sleep, and especially during those deep sleep phases, our brains go through a fascinating process of consolidating memories and learning patterns.
Okay.
It's like hitting the save button on all the information and experiences we've taken in during the day.
So you're telling me
Yeah.
that all those intentions I've set, the visualizations I've created, even those affirmations I've repeated, they're all being reinforced and strengthened while I sleep.
Exactly. It's like giving your subconscious a head start on manifesting those desires.
Mm-hmm.
And as you continue to practice these techniques, those neural pathways become more ingrained, leading to actual changes in your thoughts, beliefs, and even your actions in your waking life.
Okay, this is starting to feel less like magic and more like a powerful tool for personal growth.
Uh-huh.
But I have to admit, there's still a part of me that's a little skeptical. Can simply thinking about something before bed really have that much of an impact on our waking reality?
It's a valid question.
Yeah.
But consider this.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about the brain not really distinguishing between real and vividly imagined experiences?
Yes.
Well, if our brains can't tell the difference, then what does that suggest about the power of our thoughts to actually shape our reality?
Oh, okay, you've officially blown my mind.
Yeah.
So if we can convince our subconscious mind that something is real, even if it hasn't happened yet, could we actually start to attract those experiences into our lives?
It's a fascinating possibility, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It suggests that we're not just passive observers of our lives, but active creators of our own destiny.
I like that.
And sleep manifestation might just be one of the keys to unlocking that creative potential.
This is seriously making me rethink my entire bedtime routine.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how sleep manifestation could be a game changer for achieving our goals and living more fulfilling lives.
It's definitely a powerful tool, and the beauty of it is that it's accessible to anyone. It doesn't require any special skills or equipment, just a little time and effort each night before you drift off.
All right, so let's say I'm ready to dive into the world of sleep manifestation. What's the best way to get started? Should I try all 5 steps at once, or is there a more gradual approach?
The source recommends starting small.
Okay.
Choose 1 or 2 techniques that resonate with you and make them a part of your nightly routine. Maybe you start with setting a clear intention and visualizing yourself achieving that goal.
Or maybe I could focus on repeating those powerful affirmations and cultivating a sense of gratitude before I fall asleep. It feels like I'm already creating a more positive and intentional bedtime routine just by thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember, consistency is key. Even if you can only spare a few minutes before bed, it's better to do something than nothing at all.
Quality over quantity.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. And as I become more comfortable with these techniques, I can gradually add more or experiment with different approaches to see what works best for me.
Absolutely. It's all about finding what resonates with you and making it your own. The most important thing is to approach it with a sense of curiosity and playfulness.
This is so exciting. I'm already feeling inspired to revamp my bedtime routine and tap into the power of my subconscious mind. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'd have one final question that's been swirling around in my mind. If our brains truly can't distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences, what does that imply about the very nature of reality itself? It's a big question, I know, but it's one that I can't help but wonder about.
That's a profound question, and it's one that philosophers and scientists have been grappling with for centuries. There's no easy answer, but it certainly opens up a fascinating realm of possibilities, doesn't it?
Hmm.
If our thoughts and beliefs can shape our perception of reality, then perhaps we have more power to create the lives we desire than we realize.
Okay, that is a powerful thought to leave our listeners with. We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive, from understanding the power of the subconscious mind to exploring the 5 steps of sleep manifestation. And we've even touched on some of the scientific evidence that suggests these techniques might be more than just wishful thinking. But there's still so much more to explore.
Definitely.
So, in this next part of our deep dive, I'm really excited to dig a little deeper into the science behind sleep manifestation.
Okay.
We talked about how our brains are busy consolidating memories and learning patterns while we sleep, especially during those deep sleep phases.
Uh-huh.
But what's actually going on at a neurological level that makes these techniques so effective?
Well, it all comes down to brainwaves. As we drift off to sleep,
Yeah,
our brainwave activity shifts from the faster beta waves that we experience when we're awake
right.
to slower alpha waves,
Okay.
then theta waves, and eventually delta waves during deep sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And each of these brainwave states has its own unique properties and functions.
Okay, I'm following so far.
Yeah.
But how do those different brainwave states actually relate to manifestation?
Well, think of it this way.
Okay.
Those slower brainwave states, like theta and delta,
Yeah.
they're associated with increased creativity and a deeper connection to our subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like our conscious mind is taking a back seat,
Okay.
allowing those deeper, more intuitive parts of ourselves to come to the forefront.
So it's almost like we're creating a more direct line of communication to our subconscious
Exactly.
during those slower brainwave states. Interesting. And when we combine those slower brainwave states
Yes.
with the intentional practices of sleep manifestation, like setting clear intentions, visualizing desired outcomes, repeating affirmations,
Mm-hmm.
we're essentially amplifying those signals to our subconscious,
Mm-hmm.
making them even more likely to take root and influence our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors.
Right. It's like we're planting those seeds of intention in the most fertile ground possible.
I like that. And the source even mentions some benefits that people have reported experiencing from these practices, like increased motivation, greater confidence, and even attracting opportunities that align with their goals.
Yeah, and those benefits can be explained by what's happening at a neurological level.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when we visualize ourselves achieving a goal, our brains release dopamine,
Dopamine.
which is a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So not only are we creating a strong neural pathway towards that goal, but we're also wiring our brains to feel good about pursuing it.
So it's like we're hacking our own reward system to make those positive changes more appealing and attainable. I love that. But I have to admit, even with all this fascinating science behind it, there's still this tiny voice in my head that's like, is this really that simple? Can I just think about something before bed and poof, it magically appears in my life?
Of course, it's not always instant or effortless.
Hmm.
Manifesting our desires takes effort, intention, and often a good dose of patience.
Right.
But what these techniques offer is a powerful way to align our subconscious mind with our conscious goals,
Okay.
which can significantly increase our chances of success.
Right. And the source emphasizes that consistency is key.
Definitely.
It's not a one-time thing. It's about creating a nightly ritual, training our minds to focus on what we want to create in our lives.
Absolutely. Think of it like working out a muscle.
Okay.
The more you engage in those mental practices, the stronger those neural pathways become, and the more readily your subconscious mind will support your efforts.
Okay, I'm totally on board with the whole consistency thing. As much as I love the science, there's still something about sleep manifestation that feels almost mystical.
I get that. And honestly, there's still so much we don't know about the workings of the human mind,
Right.
especially when it comes to the realm of the subconscious.
Well, this is where it gets really interesting for me.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about the brain not really distinguishing between real and imagined experiences,
Yeah.
and how that suggests we might have more power to shape our reality than we realize?
Right.
That's what really gets my mind spinning.
It is mind-blowing, isn't it?
Mm.
If our thoughts and beliefs can literally shape our perception of reality, then perhaps sleep manifestation is simply a way of tapping into that innate power.
Uh-huh.
It's like we're using the quiet, receptive state of our sleeping minds to rewrite the script of our lives one night at a time.
I'm starting to think of sleep as less of a passive activity and more like this incredible opportunity for growth and transformation.
Yeah,
It's almost like we're downloading new software for our minds while we sleep.
that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And the best part is, it's available to anyone who's willing to put in the time and effort. It's like having a personal development coach whispering positive messages to your subconscious while you sleep.
Okay, now you're making me really excited to dive back into those 5 steps and start experimenting.
Yeah,
But before we do, there's one last thing I wanted to touch on. We've talked about the science, the benefits, even the potential for shaping our reality. But what about the role of intuition in all of this?
that's an excellent point, and it's something that often gets overlooked. While the techniques we've discussed are incredibly valuable, it's also important to trust our intuition and inner guidance.
Okay.
Sometimes the things we manifest might not look exactly as we imagine,
Right.
or they might come to us in unexpected ways.
So it's about being open to the possibilities and trusting that the universe might have a plan that's even better than we could have conceived.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance between setting clear intentions and also being willing to surrender to the flow of life,
Yeah.
trusting that we'll be guided towards what's truly meant for us.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's like we're co-creating with the universe, putting our desires out there while also being open to the infinite possibilities that exist beyond our limited perspective.
Well said.
Mm.
And that openness is often where the real magic happens.
Mhm.
It's when we allow ourselves to be surprised, to be guided by something greater than ourselves, that we truly unlock the full potential of sleep manifestation.
This has been such a mind-expanding conversation. We've explored the science of sleep manifestation, the power of our thoughts to shape our reality, and even the role of intuition in the process. But I have a feeling there's still so much more to uncover. As we wrap up this deep dive into sleep manifestation,
Yeah.
I keep thinking about that idea of co-creating with the universe.
Uh-huh.
It's both humbling and incredibly empowering.
It really is.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we're not just these isolated individuals struggling to make things happen on our own. We're part of something so much bigger,
Yeah.
something interconnected and constantly evolving.
And if we can tap into that universal energy even while we sleep, imagine the possibilities. I mean, we've already talked about how our thoughts and beliefs can shape our reality.
Mm.
What if those thoughts are amplified by this connection to something bigger than ourselves?
It's fascinating to consider, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like we're not just sending out a signal, we're broadcasting it through this cosmic amplifier.
Right.
And those amplified thoughts and intentions have the potential to create ripples that extend far beyond our individual lives.
Okay, now we're really getting into the woo-woo territory, but I'm kind of loving it.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't wished for a little extra cosmic support in achieving their dreams?
Well, maybe sleep manifestation is one way to access that support.
Uh-huh.
It's like we're aligning ourselves with the natural rhythms of the universe, allowing those universal forces to work through us while our conscious minds are resting.
So it's less about forcing things to happen and more about surrendering to the flow of life, trusting that the universe has our backs.
Exactly. It takes a bit of the pressure off, doesn't it?
Definitely. It allows us to approach our goals with a sense of ease and openness. Yeah.
Knowing that we're supported by something far greater than ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of surrender often leads to the most surprising and delightful outcomes.
It does.
Speaking of delightful outcomes,
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear if you've personally experimented with any of these sleep manifestation techniques. Have you had any, shall we say, interesting experiences?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it magic, but I have noticed a shift in my own life since I started incorporating these practices into my bedtime routine. I feel more aligned with my purpose, more open to new opportunities, and more confident in my ability to create the life I desire.
That's amazing. And it just goes to show that these techniques can be powerful tools for personal growth and transformation, even for those of us who might have started out a little skeptical.
Absolutely. It's not about blind faith or wishful thinking. It's about intentionally using the power of our minds to shape our reality. And sleep manifestation provides a unique and accessible way to do just that. On that note, I think it's time to wrap up this incredible deep dive into the world of sleep manifestation. We have explored the science, the techniques, the potential benefits, and even touched on some of the more mystical aspects of this fascinating practice.
It's been a really enlightening conversation.
It really has. And to our listeners, if you're intrigued by the concept of sleep manifestation, we encourage you to do your own research and explore the resources that resonate with you. There's a wealth of information out there, from books and articles to online communities and guided meditations.
And remember, the most important thing is to approach it with an open mind, a sense of curiosity, and a willingness to trust the process. You might just be surprised by the incredible things you're able to manifest in your life starting tonight.
So sweet dreams, happy manifesting, and until next time, keep exploring the boundless possibilities that exist within each and every one of you.